Welcome to Basics of Projects Management course run by Manage under PGDM program. Now, this particular course has been structured in the following way: objectives, introduction, definition of project management, project characteristics, objectives of project management and importance of project management. The objectives of project management course. The objective of this course, we do hope when you go through the contents of this course, you would be able to explain the concept of project and project management, explain the characteristics of a project, understand the objectives of the project management and know about the importance of project management. Now, when we are having some master degree programs, PhD program in all SAUs, the students are submitting a written report out of a project in the form of a thesis or dissertation. Farmers are undertaking some vegetable cultivations which we call quality, means safe production of vegetables. The road construction is being made by the construction engineers, then railway are converting the meter gauge into broad gauge, then the people who are involved in human gene mapping, which we call Human Genome Project, Apollo project, landing man on a moon, all those are nothing but a project, but it has some uniqueness, newness, it is being planned and executed for the good. Now, this particular thing is to be understood from the definition of a project. Now, before I talk about by different authors, let me talk about the origin of the word project. The project is having its own origin in the Latin word. That word is a projectum, means before an action. Within the word, there is a word like pro, which denotes a precedence. Now, this precedence means something that comes before something, means before an action, but in English language it has a meaning of a plan of something. When we talk about a plan, it means projected course of action or deciding in advance what is to be taken into act. Now, all those things comes only when if we recognize there is a need for an action. As long as we are not going to take any decisions on a plan, it is not a plan. So, therefore, this is an important element which we have to keep it in mind. Now, different authors they have said the project, but I am going to talk from project management body of knowledge. It defines it's a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product or service. There are two important words in it: temporary, which means every project has a definite end, and a unique. The product is the similar, but they are different. Like the farmer which is going to produce the residual free tomato, the tomato is having in the residues and residue free, the product tomato is the same, but they are in different nature. Therefore, it is a unique one. Now, there are certain important aspects in it. When we do about or talk about aspects, we all have to understand what do you mean by aspects. Aspects are nothing but the way one particular problem is to be seen or understood or considered. Now, it is to be seen from the following points. It is to be seen from the starting date, specific goals and conditions, defined responsibilities, it has a budget, planning, fixed end date and parties involved to do the work. Now, when we have talked about the project, then comes the project management. In this, we have to talk about the management from its own meaning. Management is nothing but certain things which are to be achieved, means the objectives are to be achieved within the available resources. Now, what are those resources? There are three important resources. One, M stands for money, another one is men, another one is material, and those are to be managed with technically. Now, this technically managing the resources are going to be taken into account with the project, then we are going to talk about the project management. Different authors they have defined project management differently. I am going to define from the project management body of knowledge. They have said it is an application of knowledge, skill, tool and techniques to project activities in order to meet stakeholders' needs and expectations from a project. Now, it has certain characteristics. What are those characteristics? Characteristics are fixed set of objectives. Project starts when the objective is finalized. Project ends when we attain that objective. tenure. It has certain fixed span of life. Teamwork. For accomplishing the objective of the project, we need the help of different people. It is an unique one because the project is different than other projects. Life cycle, like every other living organism, it starts also slowly, defining phase, then starts building up in size, planning phase, then reaches peak, implementation phase, before finally getting terminated. Now, if we see that that life cycle in a circle format, the first phase is project implementation, then comes project planning, then comes project execution, then project completion. Then we have to go for follow it up, and when we go through the follow up, it again leads to the project initiation, and this way it goes on. Then comes made to order. The project is being influenced by the customers, their requirements and their objectives. Then it has a single entity. All those projects are having some individual's responsibility. In our case, we can call it project investigator or project team. In it, they are responsible to complete the project. Then multi-skilled staff. To complete or accomplish the project, we need different types of skills, and for that we different type of people also we need. The skills related to the technical, human, financial, negotiations, all those skilled persons are needed to complete the project. Then subcontracting. To accomplish the objectives of the project, we have to give work to the different organizations to get our work done. If we don't have the lab facility, we can go to the other lab to get our data analyzed. If we don't have the specialized knowledge people, we can hire them for our project. Then risk and uncertainty. We have to understand what do we mean by risk. Risk is an important one. If it is effectively managed, we are going to minimize the cost of the project as well as negative effect of the risk. There is a need to know what do you mean by risk. Risk is nothing but results or effects of uncertainty, and these results or uncertainty can be measured in terms of risk management, that is the rate of occurrence multiplied by the impact of an event that is going to lead us to know the risk. But there are two important elements in this risk. One is tangible risk, another is intangible risk. Tangible risk are all those resources like man, men and money, materials. If those are not available, it is going to affect the accomplishment of the project. But intangible risk is also an important one. Intangible risk are knowledge of the people, relationship, that might be due to the lack of coordination, the relationships are not there. All those are going to play an important role in the completions of the project. Then we have the objectives of the project management. When we are going to talk about the objectives, we all have to understand what do we mean by objectives. Objectives are nothing but the results to be achieved. What are the results? It has four major elements in it. The first is scope. When we are going to talk about the scope, scopes are getting information to start the information. There are two distinct uses in this particular scope. One is project scope, another is a product scope. Project scope is leading to product which is having distinguished features and functions. In case of project scope, it deals with the functions through which we are going to deliver the product. So therefore, project scope is work oriented and product scope is functional oriented. Like we have the car, we have different features that plays an important role. Then comes performance. Every project is having some performance which is expected from the project investigator or project management, and this plays an important role. Then comes time. Time is an important one. A successful project, if it is completed within the time, that is a beautiful characteristics of a project. Then comes cost. This is the most important one only because whatever we have talked about, performance, the time or the scope, everything relates to the money. So mathematically we can talk it is a function of performance, time and scope. If anything is going to be increased, if the time is going to be increased, then money is going to cost. If you are going to increase the scope, money is going to be cost, and performance is to be enhanced, then again the money is to be taken into account. Then another approach to deal with the objectives of the SMART is a smart way of doing it. The M stands for specific. every project should target a specific goal. It's measurable. It should be quantifiable, attainable. It must be achievable, realistic. It must be relevant, time limit. Within the time limit, it must be finished. Now, this particular SMART can be given with a beautiful example to increase the income level of farm women from 5 to 15 minutes in Varanasi district during 5 years time. Now, what is measurable? 5 to 15 minutes increase of farm women's income within that time limit, 5 years time program, and everything is free from any ambiguity. So, that is a beautiful example to formulate an objective, but there are certain words are to be used while writing objectives that decrease, increase, strength, improve and enhance, but there are certain inappropriate words which are not to be used, that is train, provide, produce, establish. There are certain importance of the project management. Everywhere everyone is talking about the project management, whether it is a student of arts, commerce, agriculture or engineering, they all go for this. Why? Because every time the technology is changing, that gives a beautiful chance for the people to go into it, and they have a scope for project management. Now, the high entropy to the system. What do you mean by entropy? It needs additional information. All the firms or industry needs to have some additional information to make them up to date. Now, the squeeze life cycle of the product, the beautiful example which we are experiencing every day, day to day of our life, like our mobile, like our computer, all those things, because of the short lifespan, that has given a project management scope. Then globalization impact, as we all have come to know, the whole world has become without borderless world. Our product has to compete throughout the world. That has also given us a complete opportunity to go for a project management. Then we have a large organizations. It's a huge problem to manage the human force or workforce or work division that are being divided in forms of project, and that helps us to manage and develop the performance of result too. Now, then comes the customer focus. It's an important one. Present day, we are going to talk the customer requirement, which we can call it as customization, but earlier it was in terms of reduce cost. But in the present day, the combination of standardization and customization has given the opportunity to apply the project management, and this has plays an important role for this course. Now, in this course, what I have said? I have said that objectives, introduction, definition of project management, project characteristics, objectives of project management, and importance of project management. And if you all go through this particular contents, you will be able to understand what project management is. Thank you.